The Book of True Life, Teaching 56 of 366. The Master teaches, nothing is left to chance. Everything happens according to my will. Divine Revelations, Mexico, from 1866 to 1950. The Lord says, with jubilation in my spirit do I behold you hearken to my word. You come in multitudes to these houses of prayer to reinvigorate yourselves with my lessons of love. But not all come to hear me. Most come with the hope of relieving some of their sufferings, or to rid themselves of some heartache. Many have been called, but only a few follow me. There are many here who, during the second era, wished to hear the voice of the rabbi, but did not have the chance to get to know him. There are also those who, having had the opportunity to hear him, did not care to. However, during this time, all of them listen avidly to my word, and they are not waiting for me to take it back, so they will not have to lament their negligence once again later on. Therefore, I am not speaking into the void. Even if many have no interest in my word, there are some of my children who know how to safekeep it, like a jewel of unfathomable value, and to make it known to mankind when the time comes. With compassion and love have I come for all, making my presence felt in many different forms. Some have caught a glimpse of me with their spiritual vision. Others feel my strength, shaking their entire being. Yet others are deeply moved by the spiritual essence of my word. And yet again others feel how the peace of my spirit embraces their hearts. The sick experience their maladies being healed in the presence of my caressing words. And the sinners feel watched and contemplated by a pervious and penetrating gaze that reaches into their spirits. That is when you said, "The Lord is with us." When my disciples asked me during the second era if I would return, I made the promise that I would be among humanity once again, telling them what the signs would be that would mark the time of my return. Many centuries have passed until those signs appeared, announcing my new manifestation, the same which you now see fulfilled. If, even after 1,800 years, an entire era for mankind, I have faithfully fulfilled my promise to you, do you now believe that, as I have announced my parting for the year 1950, that the Lord would break his word? When the theologians and those who studied the scriptures of times past saw the fulfillment of the signs with which I prophesied my return and my presence among you, and upon seeing that time was passing by without them witnessing my arrival, saddened, they closed their books, believing they had mistaken the time and the signs, unaware that they were in fact right. Truly, I say to you, that very soon, when the proof becomes known to mankind that I was among you, all will conclude that my manifestation occurred exactly when the prophecies were being fulfilled. What joy there will be in many a heart, and what great interest will be generated to interview my disciples, as well as to research and explore the new scriptures. During this time, there were not only a few witnesses to my manifestation. No, there were thousands upon thousands of individuals who felt their hearts beat with love and apprehension upon hearing my word. Many of them will be my faithful witnesses and my good disciples, those who shall not abandon me when my word will be judged by the courts and councils, testifying to my truth with their deeds of love. Truly, I say to you, that among these multitudes, there is not a single individual that has been led here by chance. I assure you once again that not even the leaves of the trees move without my will. Within the life of each and every one of you, there exists a reason for which you have come to bear witness to my word. You have come from all walks of life, from various sects, religions, and doctrines, stumbling and faltering upon the stones of the path, accumulating the light of experience within your spirits. Upon arriving here, you sense an unknown strength, an indefinable aura, and you ask yourselves, what could it be? This deeply moving word, this peace that perfuses the heart. Where do these things come from? And I have answered you. It is your Father who strengthens you. But I have not come to obligate you to believe in this form of my presence, and it is not even necessary to force you into believing, for I am manifested and made palpable before you. Just a tiny bit of emotional sensitivity is enough for you to perceive me. This is the time to make you understand that the use you have made of your free will is wrong, and that now the fulfillment of a spiritual mission among humanity awaits you. You see, I do not judge your past deeds just to then tell you if you are or are not worthy of receiving this responsibility. For it was not by chance that you were brought into this world. It was my will. Think about your destiny. Ask about the, to you, unfathomable, and I will answer you. No one who has questioned the mysteries of my heart has gone without an answer, because in that moment will the light of your spirit shine, revealing the great gift you have received from your Lord. I wish to see you elevating your spirit, searching the infinite for my wisdom. To do this, take the writers and scientists as example, those whom I surprise in the middle of the night, while some search for inspiration and others for answer to the fundamental questions of nature. With this, I do not mean to tell you to search for erudition upon this earth, which would grant you fame and admiration among men. I wish for this elevation and greatness to be within you, and that whatever you attain in your struggles and studies may be a fruit of life and love for your brethren. Whenever I draw close to the scientists who have become absorbed in their meditations and aged in their studies, I ask them, why do you slave away at this? For whom do you struggle and suffer so? And not a single one has told me, Master, I struggle out of love for humanity. They love science and they offer their life to it. But to those who knew how to ask, inspired by noble aims, great knowledge has been revealed, which has always gifted a sweet fruit to humanity. And this is proof that it was I who inspired that light. However, those who have examined nature without love and respect have become stuck at the beginning of the path, or have fallen into ruin, because it was not goodness that inspired them, but vanity, hatred, and ambition. But in the same way that science is revealed to man, I give him the light for the spirit through inspiration. That is how I spoke to the patriarchs of the first era, and just like that I inspired Moses, whom I transformed into the spokesman of my word, to speak to my people. To him I dictated laws and maxims, which he wrote down, so they would be perpetuated and made known to future generations. After Christ finished his sojourn here on earth, he illuminated 4 apostles of his doctrine, granting them the ability to recall his divine word during their meditations and ecstasies, so they would bequeath to mankind what their spirits could manage to receive through their understanding. These 4 apostles were Mark, Lucas, Matthew, and John. The day shall come when the books, now considered useless, will be cast into the fire, which will occur when their spiritual essence lives within your heart, and that you abide by the law that encompasses it. However, before that, this last testament shall be united with the first two in the form of a struggle, as was the case with the first and the second. Today, I have not limited myself to talking only about the present. I have spoken much about times past, and I have even advanced prophecies of the future to you. I have revealed what has been hidden from you. I have rectified what has been altered and falsified, and I have revealed future events to you. Blessed are those who prepare themselves, because tomorrow they will know how to understand these lessons with goodwill, lessons that talk about mankind's destiny, about the future of the nations, and about the triumph of the light, which is that of love, peace, and justice. This doctrine shall truly liberate man. He believed himself to be free, running away from his conscience and my laws, and thus he did not know that he carries attributes, faculties, and gifts within himself, which he has not been able to develop, because of which he is not truly free, but rather a slave of himself and of his ignorance. How could such a humanity feel the peace of my kingdom and carry me within her heart? Her mind blinded by material ambitions, her heart beating merely for human passions, and her spirit materialized as a result of all this. This humanity is spiritually dead, but I, who has the power to raise the dead, have come to call her back to life and lead her into a time when she shall liberate her spirit, recognize her gifts, and, through them, attain progress and elevation. Today, you begin to make use of all the abilities of the spirit, and this is what will lift you from the abyss. Here is a people who desire my word with sympathy and wish to gather my teachings, because they know that the time of my manifestation through the human mind is short. Make use of my education, O disciples. Thereafter, go forth without fear to spread my word and my teachings among humanity. Do not be intimidated by those who will attempt to discredit your mission with their theories. Mankind searches, not even knowing what it is she wants. Today, I have come to tell you this. I am the one whom you have been searching for. Who does not earnestly wish for peace? Who does not yearn to know the truth? Who does not wish to preserve his health? You must search for me, because peace does not exist on earth, and neither are there enough men of goodwill. However, my justice has come, and the day of the Lord is here. When man follows my will, even the elements shall bow as servants to him. But for as long as man persists in his disobedience, the elements shall continue to be unleashed, eventually making him acknowledge his lack of harmony with everything created. I have not come as an enemy to my children. I have merely come to destroy sin, so you may recognize my light. Pray, people, and I assure you that I will receive your offering, not the material, but rather that which your spirit will give me. My justice exists within every heart, the one who opens his door for me, as well as the one who closes it to my calling. My gaze is pervasive and is able to find everything they hold within. In some, I have found the offering of their love and humility. In others, the joy of being together with me, as well as gratitude for the blessings they have received. In some, I discover hope, in others, pain. And truly, I say to you, every moment my altar is covered more with tears than with offerings. Here in my presence, you are cleansed of every blemish. Oh, if only you could preserve this purity throughout your entire life. But this atmosphere of spiritualization and brotherhood you create during these hours of communion and teaching does not reign in the world. Even the very air you breathe is poisoned by sin. But in the same measure that you have internalized my doctrine, so will the chain that binds you to the world fall off, link by link. I judge you, but just look at how sweet the word of your judge is. Realize that, instead of a sentence, I grant you my pardon, so you will not sin anymore. You are the ones who sentence yourselves when you recognize that it is just for you to be visited by pain. That is when I bless this repentance of yours, and with my teaching, I free you from the cup of suffering. This is the way of God. Come along with me. He who listens to the voice of its conscience acknowledges and understands his faults, and, at the same time, accepts his expiation. But he who does not understand the magnitude of his transgressions will not be able to free himself from his blemishes, and for as long as he fails to do so, he cannot reach me. Do not curse the pain, for that which you must actually destroy is sin itself. Pain has always served to hold you back in your vertiginous race towards the abyss. Today, you are no longer little children, and you have the capacity to understand the meaning of my teachings. You also know that your spirit was not created together with the physical body you possess, that the origin of one is not the origin of the other. The children you rock in your arms carry innocence within their hearts, but within their spirits they harbor a past which, at times, is much more ancient and sinister than that of even the parents. How great a responsibility it is for those who must cultivate and take care of these hearts, so their spirits may progress along the road of development. Do not look upon your children with any less love because of this. Remember that you do not know who they truly are, nor what they have done. Rather, increase your affection and love for them, and be grateful to the Father for having granted you the mercy of becoming guides and counselors to your spiritual siblings, of whose bodies you have temporarily become parents. Even without possessing this spiritual knowledge, men accompany and assist each other along the road of development. For the path to perfection has been created for all and shall be followed by everyone until the very end, even those whom you believe to be distant from my law. Can you imagine even a single one of you not coming to me, even if the thought of eternity is too grand for him to fathom? Could the perfect Father ever neglect any of his children? Now then, disciples, do you really believe that a single earthly existence suffices for the Spirit to accomplish his mission and perfect himself? No, Master, you tell me with innermost conviction. This is the resurrection of the flesh, but not in the form that was conceived by mankind. When the flesh has become stiff and still, it enters the bowels of the earth, while the spirit departs to the great beyond, waiting for my justice to send him to incarnate in a new body. In this manner do spirit and physical body unite once again in this world, but not in the spiritual realm. Just because the Father grants you more than one opportunity to fulfill your mission does not mean you should leave this one unused. For no one knows the number of earthly existences my judgment will assign to him. So, may the old, the young, and even the children hurry in fulfilling the mission that has been assigned to them to settle their accounts. I also say to you that this is the time for the resurrection of the dead, because this my light shall awaken the faith of those who have perished in the darkness of remorse, desperation, and bitterness. The sixth seal has been undone, and the book is opened before you. The candlestick illuminates the universe, and the divine word, symbolized by a tongue of fire, speaks to you from infinity. It is the voice of the Lamb that was sacrificed during the Second Era, surprising, illuminating, and raising men to the life of grace. Live vigilantly, for soon many prophets will emerge, and it is necessary for you to know how to distinguish between the true and the false. The men who have the task of serving justice here on earth, instruments of my divinity, will rebuke all those they catch committing a falsehood, all those who make a profit off of my teaching, and who hide their profanity behind a mask of saintliness. Woe betides those who promise to lead men to bliss, but instead lead them into war and confusion. I wish for my disciples to show themselves by healing the sick, rescuing the lost, helping the weak get back on their feet. In order to comply with this sacred mission, part with the superfluous, abandon all useless earthly entertainment, and do not deceive your heart and senses with false beauties or harmful impressions. Elevate your spirit so you may enjoy only the eternal, the beautiful, and the good. Should it not be so, then your spirit, materialized by the kind of life you have led, will suffer much to part with his body and everything he left behind. He will have to roam the spiritual spaces for a time, enveloped by confusion and bitterness, until he completes his purification. Live within my law, and you will not have to fear death. But do not call for nor desire it before its time. Let it come, for it always obeys my commands. Make sure that it finds you prepared, because that way you will enter the spiritual world as children of the light. Today, sit at my table, eat, so this bread may transform you, and you will know how to offer it to those who need it later on. Today, you bring those before my word whom you find without health, peace, or an ideal along the path. Tomorrow, when you will no longer hear my voice in this manner, you shall be the ones to receive your brethren and nourish them with this life essence. Nothing is left to chance. Everything happens according to my will. My justice lies at the heart of the destinies I have assigned to you. Should you encounter thorns strewn along the path, then truly, I say to you, it was not my will that placed them there to wound your feet. However, you shall advance along the path with total acquiescence, aware of the fact that these hardships you suffer cleanse your spirit of its blemishes. When that acquiescence is born within your heart, you will feel how my mercy prepares the way for you. Those who now listen to my word receive it like balsam upon your wounds. However, do not be content with merely receiving my blessings, without wishing to delve into the essence of my doctrine, because the moment shall come when you will no longer hear this word, And if you did not prepare yourselves to communicate with me from spirit to spirit in the future, then you will feel like orphans. In the battle that looms ahead, I want you to be the steadfast soldiers who will defend their cause, so that in life you may be called the strong and prudent Israel, like Jacob was, and that you may be ready to always come forth and respond to the call of the Father. Do not waver back and forth between doubt and faith, because then your steps will never be steady and your decisions never firm. Also, do not ask me for proof to believe, because you do not know in what manner my justice could demonstrate these proofs to you. Do you not sense an invisible aid lifting up those who have fallen into degradation? Do you not see the great crowds that arrive with sickness, but recover their health and happiness? Have you not noticed how the outcasts of life come before my presence, and, upon revealing to them the gifts they possess, they are sought after and even admired by the multitudes? Discover all the proofs I have bestowed upon you through my power and presence, and you will be convinced that I have granted a miracle to every single man, so they may all believe in my coming during this time. Understand this: when you make your way over to the densely leaved tree, in its shade you will be able to hear the omnipotent voice of your Father. The disciples must make use of my presence to ask me if the fruit they have been harvesting is satisfactory and agreeable to my divinity, to which I respond: if you have sown my seed, then you will gather a good harvest. Why do some live in such great lethargy? Rise up and realize how the moments pass by without you making use of them. There is still time. You may not want to do so if your time is short, because then you will attempt to cover a large distance on the path quickly, that is, with enormous steps. But this way, you will do nothing good, and you will not harvest anything either, because it requires time for the seed to germinate, the plant to grow, and the fruit to ripen. The year 1950 is closing in, which is when I will cease giving my word. During that time, I shall mark the last of my children, and the number of the 144,000 shall be complete. Those who have listened to my word and are aware of their gifts and missions, and have made good use of that grace, shall feel secure. But those who have refused to comprehend this work will have to suffer much. They will have to earn many merits and make numerous sacrifices to attain the elevation where my peace dwells, which is like a gateway opening before the Spirit. You, the disciples of the third era, who have seen the coming of the Holy Spirit, are the ones who, beneath this light, have understood the present teachings, those of the past and even some of the future. Do not doubt that this is a time of elucidation, but do not grow overconfident. Behold how the talent of the scientist shines brighter than never before. Behold how much the child knows from its very first steps. Realize what is happening all around the world. You are still castaways searching for other castaways, crying out for help in the midst of a raging sea. Study my word in depth, so you may have a true understanding of it, and that you will not transform my doctrine into another theory. Do not wait for the time of persecution without having the weapons necessary to defend yourselves. Those weapons shall be your manner of living, your word, and your worship of God. I do not expect you to be infallible, because the only infallible one is myself. What I ask of you is sincerity and goodwill in all your actions. I shall do the rest to complete and perfect your work. For as your works are, so shall your reward be. Should one of you feel envious towards your brother, believing that the master loves him more, and both would seek to claim their place to my right, I would say to them, it is not I who shall make you sit to my right. This is something that each of you will have to earn by yourselves. Truly, I say to you, I could not love one child more than the other. Among my apostles during the second era, I did not love Judas any less than John. Those spirits were drops of the infinite ocean of my love, and when they returned to the Father, only He, in His elevated judgment, knew what each of them had earned for himself. In order for humanity to set out and follow me during this time, to delve into the mysteries I have clarified, and to be filled with light, it is necessary that she possesses freedom in spirit, in mind, and in will. And this is what I have come for, to liberate the spirits from their yoke by shattering thrones and empires, bringing about the downfall of scepters and crowns. Be free. Do not search for your kingdom and heaven here. Do not make for yourselves servants of the humble, and neither shall you yourselves be slaves of vanity. Remember that I said, my kingdom is not of this world. My throne and armies are not here. So, neither the kingdom of your spirit nor its reward are here either. I spoke truthfully to you, and truthfully I am speaking to you now. After such a long time of receiving great revelations from me, would it not be right for you to ask me, like Pilate did, what is the truth? Do you wish to come to me? Do you yearn to someday be where those who have followed me have gone? All you need to fulfill your desire, I have already given you. I myself became man once, and now I speak to you in spirit. All this happened to show you the way that leads towards perfection. I am the eternal Word, telling you, hear me, for the year 1950 is not far off now, and it will be like as if the gates of heaven have closed. I once told you, he who knows the Son knows the Father. Now I add to that, he who knew the Son, and through him the Father, knows the Spirit that speaks to you today. With complete awareness of your mission, enter the sixth seal. Call me, and I shall come to speak with you, but do it before the year 1950. Which my will has scheduled to mark the termination of my communication through the human spokesman. I receive those who praise my name within their hearts, as well as those who only come by to evaluate my word, hoping to find errors within it, so they may deny it all. I have a lesson for everyone. I speak to the hearts of children and of the elderly, of men and of women. I speak to the philosopher and to the scientist. Nobody passes by my wisdom unnoticed. That is why I say to man, take from my word what is intended for each and every one of you. I said to you once, I am the way, and it was only until later that you understood what Jesus meant to say with those words. For you understood that the way is, in reality, the divine law of love. However, today I say to you, I am the way, the truth, and the life. If you search for the essence of my word during this time, you shall find the eternal law of love within it, that same path I outlined for you here on earth. Back then, many believed that Christ missed the right way and falsified the law. That is why they fought against and persecuted him. But the truth, like the light of the sun, always triumphs over the darkness. Once again will my word be combated, because some will believe to have found contradictions, confusions, and errors in its essence. But once more will its light shine into the darkness of this time, and humanity shall realize that the way and the law I have revealed to you are the same as they were back then, and will always be the same. Hear me during this time, so you may make use of the divine lesson. Do not repeat what many did during the second era. While they listened to Jesus, they mocked him, and when they saw the miracles of the Master upon the cross, and even after his death, they were filled with remorse and fear, because they finally understood that God had passed through the world. By chance, does anyone know if the disciples through whom I am communicating now were once those who denied and mocked me? Look at them now, how they endure the judgment, the mocking glances, and the jeers of the multitudes. Do not call this retribution. It is justice, and it is necessary that he who errs through his ignorance experiences and lives through this, so that later on he may understand his mistake. Do you perchance know if these spokesmen, in another time, belonged to those who yearned to become my apostles, who had to wait in order to serve me? Mankind is now purifying itself through pain, so that my kingdom of peace and spiritualization may be established in the hearts of men and all peoples. In the year 1924, I prophesied everything that is happening right now. Little by little, does one after another come into my presence. Those who, during this time, have been called to be my forerunners and prophets. And every single one who has felt this calling within him tells me, "Lord, here I am. I wish to take part in this work of yours. Command me, for I am your servant." From that moment on, have I dedicated myself to polishing the roughness of his heart with the chisel of my word, imbuing him with brotherly love, healing balsam, peace, and goodness. Remember that I have told you, from the abundance within your heart shall your lips speak. I want you to be like the trees whose shade covers many. But how few of you truly learn how to offer this shade to the wanderer. Be like your Father, who himself is like a mighty tree, offering shade and his fruits to all his children. My peace be with you.